Welcome back. Today, I'm excited to talk about two things that have completely transformed the way I approach my days: letting go of the pressure to do everything my mind thinks is important, and building a daily routine that feels nourishing and not so draining. For me, the biggest shift happened when I started scheduling my time instead of working off of endless to do lists. Before that, I'd write out what I needed to get done, but I found that I mostly focused on the easy things, the quick things, something that I could cross off. I'd keep putting off the bigger important tasks until they were urgent and stressful. I was operating from this place of pressure. It felt like I was constantly reacting instead of intentionally moving myself forward. Learning to schedule my time changed everything for me. And I honestly believe it's a game changer for anyone, whether you lean more into the masculine or the feminine side of your energy. If you're more on the masculine doing side of the scale, scheduling gives you structure. You're able to intentionally block out time to rest and recover. And maybe even more importantly, you'll stop overcommitting because your calendar shows you that you simply don't have time for everything. You get to see exactly what you have time for and stop putting pressure on yourself to do it all. You can actually start making peace with doing less. Now, if you're somebody who leans more on the feminine or being side of the scale, you might worry that a calendar is going to feel too rigid and constricting. But I have found the opposite to be true. Scheduling your time can actually help you create a spacious structure that almost supports your flow. You can absolutely include blocks of unstructured time or flexible space for creativity. The point isn't to control your life, it's to support the life that you actually want. And if you have goals that you want to work toward, they aren't likely going to happen anytime soon if you don't take steps to make them happen. So, scheduling your time allows you to intentionally decide how much time you want to be spending doing the work that you want to do and deciding when you're going to do it. What we're doing is intentionally deciding how we're going to spend this time rather than following the needs of others or just falling into bad habits. Ideally, we have a daily routine that feels nourishing, one that balances productivity with relaxation and presence. One where we're not feeling constantly drained or overstimulated, but instead we just have pockets of peace and rest. Because when we have that, our nervous system calms itself down, and you'll be surprised how much more you can accomplish in a small amount of time when your nervous system isn't overstressed. So, to begin, you might want to track how you're currently spending your time. Take a look at where your time's going. What do you like about how you spend your days? But what might need to change? Once you can see it clearly, you can start making intentional shifts. Because here's the thing, you can't do it all. No one can. And the sooner we let go of that expectation, the better we feel. Trying to do it all is what leads to burnout. When we try to cram everything in and respond to everything that comes up, we leave no time for what actually matters to us. But if we take time, just once a week, to plan our schedules in advance, we can decide from a grounded, thinking ahead place what we're going to focus on. When we plan in advance, it comes from the higher level mind rather than that instinctual keep us safe part of the brain. And it helps us get to a better place instead of being stuck where we are. That lower instinctual brain really wants us to stay where we are because it's known, and so it feels safer. In the moment, no matter what you have on your schedule, your lower brain is likely going to talk you out of what you have planned. It's going to want to avoid discomfort and chase dopamine, and it keeps us safe from perceived risks. But when we follow the plan that we make with our higher brain, we're aligning with our long-term values, not just those moment-to-moment impulses. The process I use is called Monday Hour One. It comes from the life coach school, and it changed how I work about 8 years ago. And I have not looked back. It is actually the reason that people can see my calendar and I just get like jaws drop. But it's also allowed me to slow down my life and feel more balanced in how much I'm actually doing and being. The process is called Monday Hour One because you're technically supposed to do it on Monday morning. But I prefer to do it Friday afternoon when I'm done with my work week. It helps me close the week and step into the weekend without any anxiety about whether I have time to do the things that I need to do the next week. I know what's already going to be coming the next week, and there's no lingering uncertainty about whether I'm going to have time to get everything done. But honestly, you can do it whenever it feels best for you. If Tuesday at 2 p.m. is your sweet spot, you can go for it. So here's how it works. You start by making a list of everything you want to get done. I mean, everything. Break it down into very small chunks that can get done in 30 minutes to an hour. We don't want items that are vague, like plan a vacation. You have to separate the tasks for exploring destinations, booking flights, researching hotels, and so on. And at first, this list is likely going to be huge. It should be. It'll feel impossible to tackle, and that's okay. Then you open your calendar. I use Google Calendar, but you can use anything you like, even a paper planner. And here's the key. You start by scheduling your restoration time and your rest and things that you like to do. When are you going to just play with your kids? When are you going to take a walk or meditate? When are you doing something that just lights you up just for fun? Those go in first. I have one color for these activities on my Google Calendar, and I can see at a glance whether there's enough pink activities for my week. And if there aren't, I add some more. Once that restorative time is locked in, you start adding in your tasks. And what you'll find is, surprise, you don't have time to do it all in one week. That's a good thing. It's reality. And seeing it laid out visually helps you stop expecting the impossible from yourself. You'll probably realize you've been assuming you can get way more done than is realistically possible. But once it's all scheduled, everything has a place. You can spread things out over the coming weeks, and you don't need to carry that mental load every single day, thinking, I should be doing more. It's all handled, and that alone is such a relief. But here comes the tricky part, actually following your calendar. That's where the real work begins. Because you're going to hit a time block and your brain is going to say, ugh, I don't feel like doing that right now. And that's where coaching or self-awareness comes in. Do you struggle with this? It's something I would love to help you with in my one-on-one coaching container. Because that resistance is actually a doorway into deeper clarity and alignment. You might also be wondering, what happens when something takes longer than the allotted amount of time? There's a few ways you can work with it. One is that it cuts into your relaxation time. I don't love this option unless it's something that will motivate you. If you know you want to do something fun and instead you'll be finishing a work project, maybe you'll work faster. And if that's you, that is one way to handle it. Another option is to stick with B- work. We don't need to be perfect. It feels kind of meta, but I was running into that when I was writing my script for this episode. It was taking longer than I expected, but instead of taking more and more time to make it perfect, I just assumed that it is what it's meant to be. And I can be okay with that. Maybe it feels like B- work for me, but an A would have taken another hour or two. I would prefer to have that time back and just stick with the B- work. One more thing. Life is going to throw you curveballs. High priority things come up that weren't on your radar. And that's why I always build in at least an hour a day for unexpected tasks. That way, when something urgent arises, I don't have to scramble and throw off my whole week. I just adjust within that built-in buffer. This time can also be used for tasks that don't get done during your allotted time. And I color code this as overflow time. And so I know that I have space to do whatever feels important when that dark green time block comes around. All of this, letting go of the pressure to do it all, being intentional with your time, and creating a nourishing routine is the heart of the work that I'm going to be exploring in my new course. If this episode resonates with you and you're craving more structure, more peace, and more clarity, this course was made for you. You can sign up for the waitlist at motheryourenergy.com. So thanks for listening today. And as always, I'd love to hear what landed for you. Are you going to start scheduling your time? Or are you still going to live off of that to-do list? What's working or not working for you right now? Reach out and let me know. I'll see you next time.